How can you sell your business for more money? Well, there are several things you can do. I'm going to give you some tips today on how to ultimately sell for more money because that's when somebody goes to sell their business, that's what they want. They want other things, but at the end of the day, you've worked for years to build your business, grow your business. You've dealt with recessions. You've dealt with probably employees, not probably. You've dealt with employee problems, and besides your home or your property investment, this is going to be your biggest asset. So you are going to want to be paid when you sell the business a price that you feel is fair, and it's also going to be a price that the market feels is fair. So there are some things you can do to ensure that you can make more money when you start your business. I'm going to run through them now. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is make sure that your financial house is in order in your business, basically. So you'll have to have 3 to 5 years of tax return, profit and loss statements. You're going to want right now we're in December, so you're going to want the current year to date profit and loss and the current balance sheet. You're going to want a list of the furniture, fixtures, and equipment that are being sold with the business and those that are being included. But for now, let's just focus on those being sold. You are going to need, let's see, work in progress report if you're a service business. And then what we'll start to do is work on looking at how the business is performing. So once you have all of the financial data available, you're actually going to want to analyze it. So you can do this with a professional, or you can do this yourself or with your accountant. But I want to guide you through it just to give you a general idea. So you will want to, obviously, you're going to have your 3 to 5 years. So let's just say 3 years and then the current year to date. So you want to have everything side by side and start analyzing it for trends. Is the business, is the revenue, is it steady? Is it decreasing? Are there any patterns in there that need to be explained or fixed? How's the profitability? Is it remaining profitable? Is it consistent year over year, or has something happened? And if so, do you need to fix that, or do you need to explain it? Once you have all of that together, you will want to look at, is there something that in the world of business brokerage, but I don't really want to use the jargon because it's not helpful to you, but there's something called normalizing the financials. And what that means is basically making adjustments to add back money that you spent from the business that really was either a personal expense or it was a one-time expense that won't happen again. Let's just say that you've got a new air conditioning unit or something like that. So you have to be able to allocate those expenses and pull them out, and then they're going to be added back to your profit. And I'm sorry, in my mind, I'm envisioning a profit and loss statement. I'm pointing here for your revenue, that's your top line. And then, of course, down here is your profit. So you're going to want to pull those numbers out. And then let's just say that your business has 50,000 in net profit, but you spend maybe 200,000 on expenses that a new owner won't have genuinely. So that would be salary that you pay yourself that doesn't have to be replaced. So I don't want to get too in the weeds on exactly what those are, but just for now, think of it from a practical standpoint. Is this money that I'm spending going to be available to a new owner as earnings, as profit? Okay, just keep it simple. So that's the first thing that you're going to want to do to make sure that you're getting the most money when you sell your business. The next thing that you will want to do is look at your team, look at your people, because they're driving the customer service. And it's just you and a partner in the business. That's going to be tougher for you to get more money, because when you exit, the business will actually be worth less if it's just you doing the work. You could still sell the business. You'll just have to think about looking for maybe a friendly competitor or something like that. For the sake of this video, we're going to assume that you have a team. So the next thing that you're going to do is focus on the team. And this is going to sound strange, but when a buyer comes in to look at a business is far more valuable to that buyer when the owner does as little as possible. Now that's kind of it's almost like an oxymoron for business owners, because we have a tendency to want to do as much as possible, and we will think that we're not doing things in the business. So I'll give you an example. Somebody might tell me, no, I don't do much in the day to day, but they do still meet with the web designer, but they're the only one that deals with the SEO account. Maybe they do the social media marketing, and they're the only person that meets with a bookkeeper. Those are pretty important things within that business that the owner's doing, that even though they perceive that as not doing things within the business. So you can sit down. If you have a team of, say, 10, 15, 20, 30, maybe you have an organizational chart. That would actually be a great place to start. If you don't have one, you could just sketch one out. And you're going to want to, in the names, in the boxes where you have the names of the people, instead of putting those names, write the position. So if you truly don't do too much in the business, your box should just be, let's say it's president. Then does the president what do they do? And fill in the roles that the president does. And I think you'll find that you have other boxes that your name would go into, and figure out what jobs those are, and start to pull those out. And so you are going to want to work as you plan to get ready to sell, right? Which is something that you should be doing, but you're going to want to figure out if somebody on the team, actually, here's what you could do. You can, so as you don't go in there and, just blow up your payroll numbers, you can figure out who on the team could take on additional work. Maybe you could do some cross training, so that some of the things that you are doing that you shouldn't be doing, or that you want to get somebody else ready for, maybe you can delegate your work out to people already on the team and just give them a little bit of extra work and see. I mean, they may meet with them, discuss with them, see how busy they are, but that might be a good way to mitigate that risk and then allow you to sell the business for more money. Or you may have to fill a couple of positions that might add to your payroll, but you could analyze the team and maybe you have some positions that are needed. Maybe you just have to do some shuffling and reorganizing. The next thing that is going to allow you to sell your business for more money is going to be your processes. So we've got people. Next, we have processes. So picture this, right? So you sell the business, or you have a buyer come in to look at the business, and you have to be completely honest, not honest in a way that's overly optimistic. You have to be completely honest and tell them, when you walk out the door, where's all the processes, and guarantee that probably 50%, I would say at least 50%, most of the business owners I speak to don't have any processes. And that devalues your business, because what's the buyer going to do the day you walk out? Well, they'll be fine with that. They can figure out the processes, but they're not going to pay you as much money. So if you want to make more money from the sale of your business, it's time to grab a notepad and start getting some of the stuff that's in your brain down on paper. You can get your team to do the same. If you, for each of their positions, I've actually done this in the past. I've had people do a task, write it out in bullets. Gosh, we have ChatGPT now that can help us to create these processes. So there's really no excuse. But I've had people bullet out what they do, create a process, and then cross-train somebody else by giving them the process and having them try it. And then they would be able to give feedback to the employee that provided the process and tell them what was missing. And then between the two of them, they could create a pretty nice, usable process. And then I was actually able to put that together in a manual and as a PDF. So there's a suggestion for you. The next thing that you're going to want to look at is your product and your service. How is it? Do you have good customer reviews? Can you gather up some customer reviews? I worked with a business owner that had well over 1,000 Google reviews, and for some additional reviews, they didn't have Google reviews, but they had these little cards that they would mail to people, and they had a return, already paid for return stamp on it, and they would fill them out, and so they had those. The next thing that you're going to want to do to sell your business for more money is, there's a couple of things. Make sure that your lease is tight. And the SBA wants to see a 10-year lease. There are some lenders that I've spoken with that would do 5 years. But the SBA lenders, they want to have a 10-year lease because when they provide the loan to the buyer, that's going to be a 10-year payback period for a leased building. So they want the lease to mirror the loan term, which is 10 years. Okay, so make sure that your lease is good, it's long enough, and make sure that it is transferable. Also, if you have contracts, you need to make sure that those are transferable. These are all the things that add additional value to your business and will get you more money when you sell it. But you've got to make sure that these things are ready to go before you start showing buyers, because once they see one thing, they're going to want to start discounting. So you're going to have an asking price for your business, and you want to be able to defend that price. So making sure that these things that I'm explaining to you had been checked and there won't be any issues means that you won't have to discount, because you'll be able to present this to a buyer and explain the additional value above the profitability, because they're going to want to pay you a multiple of your profit. And this is all very simple. I'm not using industry jargon. I don't think that that's necessary, and I don't think it's helpful. So they will want to pay you a multiple of your profit. And then depending on all the other components, you can go on the higher side of that multiple versus the lower side, but a buyer will be trying to chip you down. So make sure that your contracts are transferable. You may need to have addendums to those contracts. I mean, those would be obviously, read them and get legal advice. The other thing that will help you to get more money when you sell your business, your lease, I just said that, making sure that your lease is transferable. Double check your rent too. Make sure that you're at fair market value. I do see situations where I have seen situations where the rent's low and that's good for the current owner, but when they sell the business, it's a problem because the landlord takes that opportunity to hike the rent. And if the buyer gets wind of that, which we have to tell them everything, we can't sell them a business and then have surprises afterwards, because that's going to cause you a problem post-closing. And you don't want that. You want to be able to sell the business with peace of mind. But I have seen it where the landlord will plan to increase the rent, and then that affects your valuation. And that, again, they will ask for a reduction in price. Inventory, that typically will be adjusted up or down right before closing. So there'll be a final inventory count. So that's not a huge concern. You just want to make sure, actually, you do want to make sure that you don't have dead inventory or stock that you've been carrying for a really long time. And another thing is your receivables. You will want to check your aging on your receivables. A lot of these things are negotiable. Many times a seller will negotiate to take the receivables and also take the cash, but it will cause a red flag during due diligence if you've got really old receivables and they're uncollectible past 90 days. So looking at the business comprehensively, the whole picture, to see, how do we make sure that everything is pristine, ready to go, cannot be questioned, doesn't need to be discounted. And the other really important thing to make sure you get the most money for your business is licensing. There are certain businesses like a funeral home, for example. It's not a very happy example, but it does require a licensee and a certain type of license to operate that business. So making sure that you have a license or prepare for the new owner to have the license, whatever the regulations are in your industry, you will need to make sure that, because imagine the buyer buys the business and can't operate because there's a problem with the licensing. And that will also hold up their loan process if they are going through the SBA, because they will want that to be in place and they won't be able to get funded if there's an issue with it. So those are some pretty detailed tips on how to get more money for your business when you sell it. And I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in this subject or you would like to learn more, you could just put interested in the comments and I'll be happy to provide you with some more information. Thanks.